also tweeted Sunday, quote, "The question is not finding a CEO. The question is finding a CEO who can keep Twitter alive." Would that CEO have to be less polarizing than he is now?
Well, it's funny because Twitter and a lot of social media companies, they struggle to turn a profit. So I think keeping Twitter alive also has different definitions of it's a hugely valuable platform based on how many users have it. But I think the latest estimates from Wedbush was that Twitter's going to lose $4 billion this year. So, and that has been, of Elon has done a lot to cut costs to try to improve the bottom line. But then again, I mean, you've seen issues with advertisers. So and I think people don't realize just how important advertising revenue is to Twitter. Before, in their last quarter, before they went private, I think it was something almost 99% or something ridiculous of their revenue comes from advertising. And we don't have information on exactly the impact of a lot of advertisers pulling back some of their activity. Um, but it's he's not going to get enough money from if even if there's a million Twitter Blue users. I mean, that's still a fraction of that money he'd probably be losing.
Yeah, definitely a
So
drop in the bucket. But let's talk big picture here. Just how
yeah.
badly is his tenure impacting Twitter's bottom line?
So unfortunately, the answer is hard. It's hard to say because I mean, without them having to report certain things to the SEC, and he runs a very, very tight ship. I mean, he's pretty much his only method of contact to the public is his own Twitter account.
Mm-hmm.
So I, it's hard exactly to say or, predict multiple years in the future. Um, I'm sure, and not that on a personal level, like layoffs are ever a good thing, but I'm sure certain overhead costs, decreasing that will be very helpful. But until Twitter proves that it's a stable environment for advertisers, I think it's a really, really bleak time. And I think, yeah, I mean, and look, it could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe Twitter Blue is a huge success or other revenue streams, but as Twitter as we know it has, and social media generally as we know it, is highly reliant on advertising revenue. And if there's changes to that, I mean, that's a really, really brutal blow. So without giving a too firm answer, but yes, there definitely needs to be a stabilization of things. And you want to, and I think you see this with social media platforms pretty generally, but um, you know, they want to avoid being political as much as possible or getting weighted into politics. And it's funny seeing, and I know it's refreshing. A lot of people think it's refreshing, but seeing him trying to address it head on. But if he's continuing to warm up to one side of the aisle, and if people go through, if there's been a lot of you know Democratic and left wing users that are threatening to leave or have left, and if that's having a noticeable impact, it's not good.
Well, let's look to the future then. What do we know about potential replacements?
So we don't know much, which is interesting. I mean, I'm sure it would be someone that's that Musk has been associated with in the past. So the report today from CNBC, CNBC's David Faber, he declined to name anyone specifically, said it's still very early stages. Two names he did rule out, which aren't surprising, are Jack Dorsey, who's the billionaire, two-time CEO of Twitter, and who's had kind of a weird friend and foe relationship with Elon Musk, and also John Legere, formerly the CEO of T-Mobile. But we saw a lot of Tesla's engineers and employees move over towards Twitter, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's. I'm sure it's someone that has, ties with Elon. I know a name that's been floated out is just looking at pronunciation there, Jason Calacanis, and he's an investor that's had a close relationship with Elon, and in some of the texts that were disclosed and part of Twitter's lawsuit against Musk, he mentioned having interest in being Twitter's CEO. So, I mean, I would put the betting odds on Jason Calacanis, but also I could see it being, it could be a host of figures. And you never know with Elon Musk. Maybe he'll make it maybe he'll make it, what's the Dogecoin dog? Like, maybe he'll make it a Shiba Inu.
Well, Derek Saul, thank you so much for your input.